Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll explore another sci-fi movie called Heaven's Lost Property the Movie, The Angeloid of Clockwork. Before we get ahead of ourselves, there are major spoilers ahead, so viewers, beware. The story begins with an overgrown chicken wreaking havoc in a nearby city district, asking our main character Tomoki Sakurai if he remembers who it is. Tomoki sadly does not, and he and his friends, aka the rest of the New World Discovery Club, watch as the chicken get upset at Tomoki. It continues on its path of destruction, and Tomoki enlists the help of his friends to try and defeat it. Thanks to Ikaros, an angeloid who fell from the sky, Tomoki is able to use one of her cards to make Sohara grow into a giant size. Sohara, Tomoki's childhood friend, manages to defeat the chicken and then steps on Tomoki for looking up her skirt. We then cut to Daedalus, the angel who appears in Tomoki's dreams and was the one who sent Ikaros to Tomoki, as she explains what angeloids are. She says that she created those girls, referring to the angeloids, and that she is a scientist who bestowed their powers and fates. One by one she introduces the girls: Chaos, an angeloid that was reprogrammed by Tomoki unwittingly; Close Combat Angeloid Astrea, Electronic Warfare Angeloid Nymph, and the strongest angeloid, Ikaros. Daedalus explains that these girls have long forgotten their purpose. Originally designed for battle, they weren't given any feelings when created. However, she does want them to experience what it's like to be happy. In order to achieve that, Daedalus fears that she may have subjected them into a cruel fate. On Earth, a girl introduces herself as Kazane Hiyori. She lives in Surrounding City, a peaceful town with a population of 7,000 people and surrounded by mountains. Kazane tells the audience that she's in love with Tomoki, and she frequently watches as he walks to school every morning with his friend, Sohara. However, she feels a little insecure due to her constant muddy appearance after always working in the fields. At school, Kazane continues to like Tomoki from afar and laments how she only has one class together with him. She tells the story of how, one day during a cooking lesson, Tomoki bumped into her and started picking up the ingredients she dropped. Tomoki ended up complimenting the vegetables she grew, and because of this, Kazane fell even harder for the boy. We cut to another scene, where Sugata, leader of the New World Discovery Club and one of Tomoki's friends, is attempting to jump off the roof with a paraglider. Tomoki and Sohara try to reason with Mikako, the student body president, to stop him, but it seems like she actually wants to see whether Sugata can survive the fall. Mikako has even gone so far as to apply for several insurance policies in the event that Sugata doesn't make it. Sugata jumps and actually flies via the paraglider, landing a couple of meters outside the school. Kazane explains that this was the time when a girl with wings apparently fell from the sky, signaling Ikaros' fall and subsequent crash into Earth. During this time, all of the girls' underwear had been taken from them by a mysterious force, and a panty meteor shower occurred the night after. Kazane continues to narrate her involvement with the New World Discovery Club and explains how she got acquainted with Tomoki and most of his friends. Kazane also watches how the other angeloids have transferred to their school and have become the subject of most of the male student body population. One day, Kazane sees Sugata tending to some vegetables by the side of the school and approaches him to compliment on his vegetable growing skills. After making brief conversation with him, she deduces that he might actually be a good person. Kazane also meets Astrea one day and gives her vegetables. This is how Kazane has become close with the Tomoki and the rest of the crew. Because of all these lucky coincidences, Kazane had decided that she wants to join the New World Discovery Club in order to get closer to Tomoki. Upon entering the room and informing them of her interest, Sugata is initially hesitant, mainly because she looks like an angeloid and isn't sure exactly if she can be considered their ally. Mikako lets it slip that if she joins, the club's budget will increase, which makes Sugata accept her into the club and let her participate in their activities fully. Because of getting accepted, their club now has stricter rules in order to avoid dissolution, meaning Tomoki can't slack off and now has to attend club meetings every day. The club then meets at Tomoki's house, much to the boys' displeasure. Here, Sugata explains to Kazane the club's objective of exploring the sky. However, Tomoki isn't quite happy and still resents having his peace and quiet getting disrupted on a daily basis. Resolving to put a stop to this, Tomoki subjects Kazane to various perverted tasks disguised as initiation tests. Tomoki tries to get Kazane to do various things to a white underwear to prove her dedication to the club. Tomoki is quite pleased with himself because he thinks that Kazane's pure nature will make her uncomfortable. However, Kazane successfully completes the ridiculous test. Tomoki then challenges Kazane to more degenerate acts, ranging from peeping at bathing girls, to wearing a pure white bathing suit, to donning a sexy nurse's outfit, and then sucking on a popsicle stick. All of this, Kazane completes with amazing integrity. Finally, Tomoki's final test involves making Kazane eat plain white rice with white panties. Thinking that she'll deem this too ridiculous, Tomoki already feels victorious. However, he watches as Kazane pick up the ungodly thing and bring it closer to her mouth. Before the poor girl can even take a bite, Tomoki snatches it away, saying he can't live with himself if he lets her do the final test. The rest of the New World Discovery Club appear and tell Tomoki they saw everything, prompting them to beat up the bastard. After getting formally accepted into the club, Kazane actually manages to seamlessly integrate herself with the crowd. Despite everything that he did to her, Kazane's feelings for Tomoki haven't changed at all. One night, Kazane walks home with Tomoki, finally getting some time alone with the boy of her dreams. Tomoki asks her what her reason was for joining the club, to which Kazane replies quite vaguely, saying that she just has many reasons. She asks Tomoki if they can take a little detour, and she brings him to her favorite place in her hometown. In this little clearing that's overlooking the entire city, Tomoki tells her that this is his favorite spot too, much to Kazane's delight. The pair get a little moment underneath the starlit sky, and after this, Tomoki actually warms up to her. Kazane also participates in various club activities and befriends the Angeloids as well as Mikako and Sugata. However, due to the recent closeness of Kazane and Tomoki, the rest of the group think that the pair are dating. The Angeloids plus Sohara even present evidences of their interactions to everyone. However, they cannot reach a resolution as to why Kazane would agree to date Tomoki, and so Mikako deduces that Tomoki must be blackmailing Kazane with lewd photos. They confront Tomoki about this, but he denies the allegations and clears up the misunderstandings. Kazane overhears everything and also tries to clear her name, leading her to finally confess her feelings to Tomoki. Meanwhile, Tomoki is a little unsure of how to accept Kazane's feelings or how to act after recent events. As he goes out for a walk, Nymph and Ikaros conclude that Kazane and Tomoki can't be together for some reason known only to them. Sugata meets with Daedalus and asks if she knows anything about Kazane. He tells her that he saw a girl in a capsule in Synapse, a place in the sky where angels and angeloids live, who looks just like Kazane. Daedalus doesn't answer, and Sugata recalls that when he met Tomoki, he says that he briefly forgot they met and then asks if that is related to the Synapse. Daedalus confirms this, and Sugata leaves to investigate the rest by himself. Meanwhile, Tomoki remembers how Kazane told him to meet her at their spot, where she'll wait for his reply. On the way there, Kazane gets hit by a truck and dies on impact. Her body mysteriously disappears, causing memories of her to disappear. Surprisingly, the only ones affected are humans, those who aren't connected to Synapse at all. Sugata realizes what's happening and scrambles to get inside the safety of the Synapse to preserve his memory. Once inside, he sees Kazane as an angel, but does not recognize who she is anymore. A man appears, someone called the Master of the Synapse, and tells Sugata that Kazane is starting to wake up. Elsewhere, Tomoki hasn't forgotten about Kazane at all and arrives at the spot, but Nymph and Ikaros arrive. Nymph lies to Tomoki and tells him that Kazane will actually meet him tomorrow instead. The trio then go home after that. Ikaros asks Nymph why she lied, and Nymph can only reply that it was for the best. Back at home, Ikaros wants to tell Tomoki what actually happened, but Nymph is persistent that it's all for Tomoki's best interest. Nymph then jumps into bed with Tomoki and asks him to make her his servant. However, Tomoki tells her that he wants them to leave freely. Before Nymph can even convey her feelings to Tomoki, he is distracted by severe headaches. Nymph can only hold him, while saying that when tomorrow comes, his memories of Kazane will have disappeared. The next day, Tomoki can still clearly remember Kazane, while everyone else seems to have forgotten her. Finding it weird that no one can remember, Tomoki gets upset and tries to find out what happened. In Synapse, Kazane wakes up and laments that her time on Earth has already ended. The Master of the Synapse offers her one last chance to live out her dream. Back on Earth, Tomoki finally confronts his two adopted angeloids who tell him that they can't explain what's happening because they're scared Tomoki will learn that Kazane isn't the only thing that's real in his life. Tomoki gets severe headache, causing him to fall unconscious. As the three angeloids look after him, Nymph gets something on her radar, causing them all to investigate. They see Kazane, but then she suddenly transforms into an angeloid. The master of the synapse has taken control of her and orders her to kill the three other angeloids. Daedalus watches this happen in real time. Meanwhile, Tomoki wakes up. The overpowered Kazane destroys Sarami City and fights the other three girls with ease. Nymph suggests that they should kill her in order to stop her until Tomoki intervenes, swearing to save Kazane. The master of the synapse orders her to kill everyone, including Tomoki, but Sugata arrives and takes him away from the fighting. As the angeloids continue to fight, they destroy the thing that lets her get controlled, but still see that they're unable to bring her back to normal. Nymph recognizes that Kazane has a dimensional system, rendering her powerful enough to cause everything to get destroyed around her, including Kazane herself. Unable to think of anything else, Ikaros traps Kazane in her aegis to contain the blast, but also traps herself in because she doesn't want Kazane to be alone in her final moments. Inside, Ikaros and Tomoki, who flew in via Sugata's paraglider, succeed in helping Kazane regain her consciousness. Kazane begs for them to get away before she self-destructs, kisses Tomoki, and thanks him for everything. Kazane recalls how they met when they were kids, and Tomoki is actually the reason why Kazane came to love Sarami City. Kazane flies away, and Tomoki can only watch as she disintegrates before his very eyes. Tomoki remarks that no matter what, he'll never forget Kazane. And that concludes today's movie. Did you enjoy it? If you did, make sure to give this a like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment below and share with us your favorite part of the movie. Until next time, bye.